Washington football. Woo! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am your host, Kyle. I am joined by my two co-hosts, Michael Reed and Michael Hall. The title of tonight's episode is the OK Corral, between Wyatt Earp and the two brothers of the U.S. Marshals going against the Cowboys, which Washington is coming down to the last game of the regular season going against the Cowboys. But the Burgundy Zone is a part of the Frederick Podcast Network. You can find out more by going to www.listenfrederick.com. So, boys, first and foremost, Happy New Year. How are you? Reed, it's been a while.
Yeah, my contract only says I have to be here a few times a year, so this is episode one.
Might as well get it out of the way for
Might as well get it out of the way.
2025, right?
Yeah.
Hall, how you doing, buddy? I was surprised. I was saying to Reed, I was like, if he's taking a nap right now.
Nah, I've just been chilling. I mean,
Oh.
it was
I was kind of just in like a constant nap state, and I like that about him.
basically.
He's always kind of
Yeah. There you go.
Reed checked me. He was like, I wouldn't blame him. And I was like, you know what? As soon as I said that, I was thinking the same thing.
yeah.
You know? So Sunday night was insane. Anything you got to add from about Sunday night? Anything that comes to mind that you want to say about Sunday night's game, Reed?
Yeah, just Jaden Daniels, he's going up against a last place, schedule. Teams don't have film on them. What a bum take that was, especially once it came out that our strength of schedule is actually harder than the Eagles. What a dumb Eagles fan that guy is. What a fucking idiot. And on top of that, you guys already played him once. You had film on him. You still couldn't stop him with your number one ranked pass defense from dropping 5 touchdowns on him. Anyway, I digress. Dude, Jaden is just unreal. The ice in his veins. Like, I know, like, he's putting up numbers. But just the way that he performs in the clutch. Like, I was texting my brother. My brother didn't watch the Eagles game the week before. So, he was like, dude, like, this sucks. Like, I was like, first of all, we're going to get it together at halftime. We're going to stop the run. This happened last week. We did the exact same thing. And then he was like, I don't know if we're going to, I was like, we got 5. As long as you got 5, you're going to win. Jaden fucking just ice in his face. Like, how? What? This is us? This is our team? This is our franchise right now? What the hell? It's so cool. Like, you're just confident. You know Jaden's going to make plays. He's too hard to defend. It's just like with fourth downs. You can't defend him in these situations. Like, when he's rolling and Cliff's rolling like that, it's just so insane to watch. And he's so fucking good. And the whole time he's just laughing. He's smiling. Marcus Mariota pulling him up. God damn, that gets me going. Marcus Mariota be like, stand up, get it together. You're good. Go out there. It was just like, oh my God, except for it was in Hawaiian. So like the way he said, I couldn't understand what he said, but I'm happy that they had subtitles. And I'm just pumped, man. I'm just flying high right now.
You say he
And
said
of course,
it in
that also
Hawaiian?
could be the bipolar disorder. Huh?
You said he said it in Hawaiian.
Yeah. That's like some third world country. I don't know what it
I
is.
was thinking that. I was like, he said Hawaiian, like it's not America.
Right.
Yeah, well, I mean, you tell me Troy Polamalu goes up there and talks, you know what he's saying? I have no idea. As soon as he starts talking, I start saying, what the hell is that? What is this guy? What dialect is that? No, I'm just kidding. They speak good English.
The crazy thing about that game, I said it on Monday when I talked to Ryan Fowler, but in the pregame warmups, because we got there early, Jaden was warming up and he was doing these passes where it was almost like sidearm, where he was just taking it, like not stepping into it, but he was just flat-footed and throwing the ball. It seemed like somebody was set up in a slant route type of scenario. And I said to my wife, like, watch how he releases the ball and, like, how he's not stepping into it, but the way that ball just, like, flies off his arm, like, not every human has that, where it's like a fastball just from the flick of the wrist. Like, that's something Michael Vick had, right? And the crazy part about it is, like, after on Monday, I didn't even know, like, that was what the game came down to. Whereas he didn't even step into that throw, just throwing that fastball into Zach Ertz right on the money. And that's why you warm up doing that stuff. And I thought that was just crazy how that warm up we saw. And then that's what the game came down to. 5
God
quarters
damn, bless
later.
Katie's heart, dude. You were sitting there, you guys were watching warm up. She's already at the game at night. It's cold. You're just like, you see the way that this guy, nothing's happening right now, but you see the way he's throwing the ball. You see the way he's flicking his wrist. You see the way he's not moving his lower half.
So,
She was probably just like,
I said it on Monday.
Cool,
that
Kyle.
as soon as the game started, that interception comes down, and I'm like yelling. And she says to me, she's like, if you don't stop yelling, I'm gonna have to go sit somewhere else. And I was like, baby, you don't even know.
You
You
said
don't.
trust me, kind of a big deal in these parts. It's okay.
No,
People
I was
understand.
screaming, dude. I was screaming. I felt so bad for everybody. But Hall, do you have any other anything to say about Sunday night?
Nah, I mean, there's nothing to say. It's just like Reed said, like Jaden just got ice in his veins, and it's just one of them scenarios. It's almost getting to the point where it's like you just look up and you're like, oh, we got enough time on the clock. We got 5 back there. It's almost like we went from being like, oh, here we go. Like they're gonna
Losing these
drive down
close
the
games all the
yeah, they're
time.
gonna drive it down the field. Like the pass would be like they're gonna drive down the field and they're gonna throw an interception on like a crucial part of the game, or they're gonna drive down the field and miss a
They're gonna go
field goal
4 and
to
out.
miss a field
Yeah.
goal to end the game and just break your heart. And then now it's just like the complete opposite, where it's like, oh, we got a minute and a half left and we got 5 back there, starting on our own 20. I'm not even tripping off that. We got
Right.
this.
We're at least
So
gonna have a chance.
yeah, exactly. And it's just like I feel like he's put the confidence not only in the team, but he's put confidence back into like the whole entire fan base. So yeah, man. It's crazy. I didn't even think this would be like a season. Like I thought we would like be contending for the 7th seed and all that stuff. But to lock it up in week 17, I guess it is, and lock up the 6th seed on top of that, like, I mean, what else can you say? This is a hell of a season.
It's so funny that Reed said poor Katie because
Honestly, I was thinking that. I was like,
Yeah. Do you
Katie's
know how
probably sitting
miserable
there
that
the
would
whole
be?
time, like, cool, calm, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you know how miserable that would be if she took you to like a dumb play and the whole time she's like, watch this ballerina's feet. Watch this ballerina's feet. Look at how
no,
still she is.
because
You would be like, this is my nightmare. What the hell?
well, she got it for me as an anniversary gift. If you get
Oh
that
no,
as
I know.
anniversary.
Katie's like, yeah, Katie likes football and stuff too,
And
and she's
that's what
pumped
I was
for
gonna
you.
say is that like
Yeah.
I kept saying stuff like that to her. She's like, "Babe, I like no football." And
You're like, I would be telling this to anybody if they were sitting next to me, to be fair.
exactly, that's
Yeah.
exactly right. But the
But
worst
dude,
part,
Jaden, real fast, that's something we talked about all off season. Remember,
yeah,
just everybody was talking about. They're like, just watch the way he releases the ball. It's so much different than any quarterback we've had here in so long. Like compare his time to Mariota's or to Sam Hartman, his dream self. Like he's different. The way he throws the ball is different.
yeah, it's funny because we saw Sam Hartman out there too, and I was like, there's Reed's boy right there. You see
Yeah,
him?
right. You better say, Katie, go get hot dogs right now. Do
No,
not.
she was like, I
Get
don't think he's
away
all
from
that
the field.
much. And I was like, that
Yeah, that's what
bless
she
your heart, baby,
said.
bless your
Yeah,
heart.
no, yeah, yeah, right. Did you look at Sam Hartman? You say, "Oh my God!" And on top of that, Notre Dame. He started for Notre Dame. You just say,
Dude. But the worst part about it for Katie is like look, I had a couple drinks during the game. Like the Commanders have a really cool thing set up where you go up for the concessions
"What
instead
kind of
of
Cosmos did you have?"
so so you go up to like the concession or whatever, but instead of like going up and talking to somebody at the counter and they go get it for you, you show them your ID. They let you in like through these little small doors and you put your card in so it remembers your card and you just grab what you want and the camera follows you and just tracks what you grabbed and then charges you later. So like you're not actually sitting in line. It's actually really quick. But I
What the
grabbed
hell?
an India Pale Ale that was like 8%. Katie told me after the fact. You know, I don't drink anymore, but
Yeah,
I was feeling it. So on the way home, I'm on cloud
you
nine.
were
I'm
fucking belting
jacked
out
up,
Blink
dude. I'm hyped
182.
up.
Yeah.
So I was like, Catherine, I'm taking over the aux. I started playing Ace Hood's Loco with the cake, and she's in the passenger seat.
Dude. Damn, shout out to Katie, man. You must have been you were miserable.
Absolutely miserable, dude.
You started playing like the fifth best Ace Hood song.
Yeah, I know. It was just the first thing that came to mind. Just the first thing I was like, this is what I'm listening to right now. I don't care. Oh, what a good.
Dude,
It was a
man.
good night. It was a good
You
night.
couldn't have even
That like
played like
legitimately
same
is like down
shit.
the list of like Ace Hood
Different
hits.
day.
Oh no, it's a banger, man. It's a
No, it's a
banger.
banger, but it's just like
Not
it's
that.
not the first thing I think of when I like think of Ace Hood.
I know. I was like, I mean,
No, the only
hell yeah.
reason is because like when he had his Accord, I told her this. It's like that's the only thing he would play when you got into his Accord when he had like a subwoofer in it and stuff, and like he would
Yeah.
always blast it on like it just for some reason it came to mind that night because of the situation. Yeah, I guess it was like a drunk flashback sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
It's
talking
so
about.
funny. Well,
But
you and Hisner used to go to games, right? That's probably where it came from.
no, I
Did
don't
you?
think that
Well,
we
you
ever
guys
went
used
to a
to.
game together.
Yeah, well, I mean, like you guys like used to kiss and stuff, but
Right.
like, so you probably listened to it a lot.
Yeah, a little bit. But I wanted to talk about this real quick. Did you see the Jeremy Reeves thing?
Dude, first of all, you're telling me a sex worker was trying to get clout on social media? I don't believe that for 1 second.
So I made the mistake of saying like, I hope this isn't legit, right? I quote tweeted
Yeah.
whatever
I did.
account had posted about it, right? Well, Jeremy actually DM'd me and
Hell yeah.
was like, come on, man, I don't even know this chick. And so I
Yeah.
wrote back to him. I was like, my man, thank you. I appreciate that. When I first saw it, my gut was like, that doesn't sound like JR. But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
like, you don't know.
I already knew it
All
was
you
gonna be
said
like
too was you
fake
hope.
because first of all,
You
she
know?
was like, she quote tweeted it was like, "This is the person that tried to fly or was in my
Yeah.
DMs
She didn't even
trying to
say
get
he
me
flew
out."
her out. Right.
And then in the comments, she's talking about that she did come out. So I'm like, you're already like contradicting yourself on the first
Yeah.
part of
What'd
this.
you do? Did you buy your own flight then?
Right.
What are you talking about?
And then
Wait.
she posted the video, and she didn't even like put his face in it. So like, if it was actually true, you would have put his face in it and be like, "I told you."
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
like,
and you'd also
Yeah.
supply the screenshot of the conversation, right? Which never
exactly.
happened.
How fucked is that too, though, by the way?
That's what I told
Dude,
Jeremy.
that's so messed up.
That's what I told Jeremy. I was
These
like, what
hoes,
an
man, you can't trust these hoes. Come on, man. Come on, Skip, you cannot trust these hoes.
That's what I told Jeremy. I was like, dude, what an evil thing to do. Like, to lie on that, to not only like screw somebody up just mentally having to deal with this now, but also possibly creating a rift in a new engagement,
Right.
right? Like, come
For
on,
what?
dude.
For internet clout, for
Right.
literally less than Hawk Tua got, for
Right.
less than 15 minutes.
So I told him,
I
I was
think.
like, God bless you, you know, and he said, God bless you too. But I had to respond. I was like, now I feel bad for even doubting you in a second. Like,
Honestly,
saying,
though,
you
that's
know,
good that Jeremy was like on top of it immediately and like messaging people like, dude, come on. Because like nobody, what do you do in that situation? If you sat there and you were quiet about it,
right.
Yeah.
like
You
then it's like,
probably, yeah.
But
then
I
it
also
would've just
told
keep
him,
going.
but I also told him like I felt bad for even like him having to bring attention to it because like you're going into his last game against Dallas, you just got engaged. Like you don't want to take his
That should be
mind
the
out of that
last
happy
thing,
place,
right?
right? You know what I mean? And like that's what I was like, my bad, man. Like now I feel bad for him down you, bringing this into your attention. It's not worth your time, type of thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I
trust me,
just
it was brought to his attention way before you quote tweeted
well,
it.
no,
Yeah,
I
oh
know,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I just mean the fact that he
Could
took
you
time
imagine
out
that
to.
girlfriend
Yeah, I
over
know
it?
to like respond to
After
it.
Yeah,
that?
like
Yeah, no.
you
Yeah.
don't want him to waste your time. Like this is such nonsense. You don't. It's not worth it. Just keep kicking ass type of thing. You know what I mean? I wasn't saying that I brought his attention to it. You know what I mean?
I
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yeah. This is just
Yeah,
a
no,
ridiculous situation, but what an
yeah.
evil thing to do, man. Absolutely evil.
That is evil. What that's what I'm saying. Though. As soon as I saw it, I was like that. No way. Because like she was a sex worker. She said, or she's a hoe. You know, it's like, come on, you're telling me
That's
like
what I'm
a
saying. Jeremy Reeves don't even look
very
like that type of
trustworthy
person.
person. Yeah.
Yeah, Jeremy Reeves doesn't even look or seem like that type of person. Obviously,
No.
like we're not around to do 24/7. All we
Yeah.
do is
True.
see what we see on
Yeah.
Twitter and what they put out on social media and whatnot. But just based off of that, it's like, come on, man. Like that dude wouldn't do something like that. Like it's all
Like if you're
programmed.
gonna lie about somebody, that's
He
probably
goes
the
for all
worst
pros,
person to
not
pick.
hoes.
At least make it like George Pickens or something.
Yeah, that
Right.
would make it
That
That would be
believable.
believable, actually.
Yeah. Then
I'm
he'd
not
be like,
gonna lie.
okay, well, clearly, clearly, there's some merit to this. Yeah.
Oh
There's-
no, don't. That's
Whether he did
rude.
or didn't, it's the chances are probably.
You just
Yeah,
got to
but
post a
Jeremy
ski
Reeves-
mask and you got it. You know.
Yeah. Then
All
again,
day.
people. I mean, did you think Aaron Hernandez had all those skeletons in his closet? I'm just.
I mean, yeah. I'm just saying, like,
No, I was just.
I was just saying.
I'm just being a goof. That's what I do.
Just
I
being a
goof.
goof. All right, so let's get into some fan questions that were submitted. This one is submitted by the Colonel, who we got to see not too long ago, and he was asking about Reed, but we won't get into that right
Well, how's
now.
the Colonel doing?
He's doing great. He just wishes he
He's
got
the
to see
man.
you more. That's all.
Well, I know he does, but Colonel, I do this so that way when you do see me, it's more impactful. Because, you
I
remember
guess
these
so.
moments. Yeah.
You see the jersey he's wearing? I got him that. I'm a good
Yeah.
dad.
He is. He's my favorite one.
Now, his question is, at the beginning of the season, Hall, we all speculated whether Washington would emulate C.J. Stroud in the Houston Texans' AFC South run last season. With the win over the Cowboys this Sunday, Washington triples last season's win total and locks in the number 6 seed in the playoffs. Is it too early to say we far surpassed those early season expectations?
No. I mean, I wouldn't say it's too early. I would say that once they hit that 7-win mark, technically, like that was kind of everyone's realistic expectations for them to win like between 6, maybe 8 games. Like if everything kind of turned right, no injuries, all that type of stuff. And yeah, and they reached 7 wins by week 9 or week 10, whatever it was. So yeah, I think that by that point, like midway through the season, the expectations had already shifted. I think that's why people were kind of so upset that they didn't make more moves like that the Twitter GMs and all the fan base wanted them to do to kind of strengthen the team, because they knew it was going to be like one of those special type seasons. The way that stuff and everything was trending, JD5 was in the MVP talks. We were 7-2. People had us in like top 5 like power rankings type stuff. So yeah, I think that the expectations shifted halfway through the season, and yeah, I mean, if you would go back to the beginning of the season, then yes, I would say tenfold the expectations were blown out the water. But like I said, the expectation for most people was hit by midway of the season, and you could say this is gravy on top and everything like that is now. But I just feel like, yeah, it's just one of them seasons where it's the beginning of something special, and more to come.
I would honestly say you could say it was early with expectations if you're saying like, but honestly that Bengals game far surpassed anybody's really expectations for this football team. There were a lot of people expecting Washington to get blown out against Cincinnati, but Washington were the ones that came out firing on all cylinders. Obviously, Jamar Chase had that early touchdown on Mikey Sanford still. But the fact of the matter, what I'm trying to make is that we are way past that point. I mean, they've already, if they win this weekend, they double the win total, right? And so that in itself is just an insane feat that they have done. And I know, look, I was a defender of Rivera and everything like that just because the guy had cancer, going through an insane time here. If you want to pick on him, that's fine. It's just I kind of understand the circumstances around it
Like
and
I
everything.
said, we should be congratulating him because he got us to this point of now that we can actually get Jaden Daniels and all his other stuff. So we
Right.
should be congratulating him that he was so bad at some points that he got us Adam Peters and Josh Harris and Jaden Daniels. So thank you, Ron. I appreciate it.
But
Mhm.
yes, Colonel, we are way. It's not too early. We've already way surpassed that, and we're now to the point where we want to see a playoff win. And nobody was really in that mindset before the season of saying we expect or want a playoff win, right? And that's something I'm looking forward to. This team could go as far as the run game takes them. I was on the Bunker podcast with the UK boys earlier today, and they asked how far we could go in the playoffs if we do once we get there. And I'm saying as far as the run game takes us, because that's the one thing that early in the season that was the MO of the football team was running the football effectively, consistently. Jaden has bore that weight on his shoulders for the past 4 or 5 games, but we need to get back to that to get really far in this. What do you think, Reed?
Yeah, just like even early on in the season, like that Bengals game was such a turning point. I remember because like the first 2 weeks, like against Tampa, like we weren't. I remember, I think Hall talked about it, where Hall was like, "What's this Cliff Kingsbury offense? Like they're not really taking shot. Like it's not. It's kind of just the same stuff." And then all of a sudden, they've strung those drives together, even though they all ended in field goals against the Giants in week 2. And then the Bengals, they kind of opened thing up, and then we went on this run. Then we lost what 3 in a row, and now we're starting to, or maybe not 3 in a row, whatever. I don't know. I don't remember what we did, but anyway, we're still now we're winning, and now they're clicking at the right time, and it's not too early, but I think right now this is the way that the defense is playing, starting to play. Like I know that they've been giving up a lot of yards in the first half, specifically the last 2 weeks, but they've got it together. They've started to clamp down now that the offense is kind of humming again. They can go pretty far. I don't remember the entire question, but guess what? It doesn't matter. I think we answered it pretty goddamn well.
Yeah, if I can remember correctly, I think the second loss of the season came against the Ravens. So we beat the
Right.
Giants in week 2, Bengals in week 3, um,
Crushed the Cardinals week 4.
week 4
Yeah.
was the Cards, and then
We crushed the Browns,
4-1, and then we lost
beat
to the Ravens
Carolina.
4-2,
Yeah.
and then we
No,
won.
I know exactly what it was. I just saw this graph the other day. It was loss, win, like 3 or 4 wins in a row. Then it was a loss to the Ravens, and it was like 3 wins in a row or whatever it was. Then it was the 3 losses. Now we're back up to like 4 wins in a row.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
don't know if that
Right.
math's correct, but it's
basically
something like
going
that.
to
Yeah.
my
Whatever.
point.
Yeah.
Basically going to my point about surpassing expectations, but that being a primetime game on Monday night away and it not being a point where
Against
like
a Super Bowl contender. Granted, they were struggling a little bit,
right.
but they're a team that everybody was like, they'll get it together.
But in years past, it was much more so of like us just holding on to the lead type of thing, where it was like we kept their point total low. Whereas in that Bengal game, it was like literally we were just electrifying and just throwing the ball deep, doing everything we could, controlling that game. Obviously, they came back late, but it was like much different to the point where you could say we hadn't seen anything like that last season, right? And so that's how you could say they already surpassed it, just saying on a primetime football on a primetime stage really going up there and doing some damage. So yeah, it's not too early. We're way past that point at this point. We're now looking for bigger and better things. Now the next question, Reed, is from Tony Franchise. It's about your boy. Black Monday will be after this week. If Cliff does take a head coaching job, who could be a suitable replacement at OC for us? I think it would be Brian Johnson or Anthony Lynn. Dark horse would be the QB coach, Tavita Pritchard.
Yeah, I would imagine Anthony Lynn would have a just like based off of his experience, his success already as an offensive coordinator. Because I mean, you look at Brian Johnson, and yes, he's very well respected in what he's currently doing. But when he got the job with the Eagles, of course, last year, the Eagles' offense wasn't, I mean, it wasn't anything to write home about. They didn't live up to expectations. Now, I mean, any one of those guys, Tavita Pritchard, I mean, shout out obviously to what he's done. I would imagine Anthony Lynn would be get the first crack at that, right? Just because, like we talked about, his proven success, what he's done with the running game. I mean, B Rob's had huge stretches this year. Chris Rodriguez has gotten up to play. Obviously, Austin Eckler, and just this entire run game has been fantastic. And I think a lot of that's got to be attributed to him.
I think that isn't Tavita already, or not Tavita, isn't Brian Johnson already listed as the offensive coordinator, but he doesn't
He's the
obviously
passing
call.
game coordinator, right?
But I
Yeah,
thought that
he's
he,
passing game
but I
coordinator.
thought that he doesn't call plays. What I thought happened was is that Anthony Lynn was about to be OC. He gave it to Brian Johnson, and he selected just to be the run game coordinator and running backs coach. That's what I remember.
Maybe, yeah. I remember they didn't announce what Brian Johnson's position was
They
for a
gave him the
while.
assistant head coach title.
Oh,
That's what
Yeah,
that's what it
yeah,
was.
yeah.
It was
That's
the
what it was.
assistant head coach. My
Right.
bad. My bad. Yeah, good pull. Good pull. So yes,
Yeah.
I think Brian Johnson probably is in the running for that OC. I think you're right with Anthony Lynn just because of kind of just the Dan
I mean,
Quinn
he got a head
aspect.
coaching job too from
Yeah.
being a good offensive coordinator.
So I would imagine Dan Quinn having that respect for Anthony Lynn. Obviously, he would give an interview to Brian Johnson to be able to give him that ability, right? But I don't think that they'd be coming out of the woodwork like a different team for an OC or anything like
No,
that. But I
they
would
shouldn't.
say
Don't
one
change anything.
one guy that could be the dark horse, I would say, is David Blau, the assistant quarterback coach.
Yep,
He
that's
has a
what I was
really
gonna say.
good connection with Jaden, and I think that that might
The
be
former
something that
quarterback too.
maybe
Yeah.
if Brian Johnson does get the OC job, maybe Blau gets elevated to passing game coordinator, right, or something along those lines, right? Hall, do you got anything to add?
No, I was gonna bring up David Blau just because that's Cliff's boy. They work together. Cliff obviously coached him there, and he's like one of those guys that's like the up and coming names like around the league or around like front offices and like coaching circles that are like that dude's gonna be at least at minimum an offensive coordinator down the line, maybe even a head coach at some point in his career. So I would say maybe David Blau just because Cliff would have that kind of that recommendation like in Dan's ear, like, hey, like I know Dave is ready for this, like blah 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 blah, and then it goes back to the touchdown play against the Eagles, where he's the one that drew it up, schemed it up, put it in, installed it in practice. So, like you said, if it didn't give him the OC job, he would definitely get some type of elevation. But I would say, like you guys said, Anthony Lynn or Brian Johnson, I would maybe nod Johnson just because
Probably.
he's had that fresher, newer type of like offense with Jalen Hurts in it, and he's kind of like he knows how to run that RPO type stuff. And if you believed all the reports, whatever it is, like Nick Sirianni was really the one that was like behind the offensive last year, and he was just kind
Yeah.
of like the scapegoat, and that's why he like got kicked out of Philadelphia. So I would say maybe Brian Johnson, but either way, I think that they would elevate from within. I don't think they would go outside and hire somebody new.
What about speaking of Nick Sirianni in Philadelphia? How bad do Philly fans suck right now? Get over it. They're still chirping. They're still talking.
You know why? It's because they realize we actually have a threat to us. Because like
Yeah.
obviously Detroit and like San Francisco is kind of you could say they're maybe falling off. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like
Could just
maybe
be an off season. Who knows?
Maybe
Right.
Green Bay's on the rise. But outside of that, they're looking at Dallas like we're not worried about Dallas. They
Yeah.
never do nothing in the playoffs. They're looking at us like, damn, this is the worst the roster is ever going to be for the next 4+ years
Right,
around
right.
Jaden Daniels.
And
This is
he's
our
still
threat.
doing this.
This is our threat in the
Yeah.
NFC right now, and they're just trying to cope with it.
It
You know
just,
that
yeah, that's true. That's 100% true.
you
It's
know
just so
Mara's
funny.
cooking up something to be able to take money or draft picks
Dude.
away from us. You know he
Yeah,
is.
yeah. I think it's so funny too listening to Giants fans right now being like, we need to trade up, we need to get Shadur. Like Shadur could be good, but it's clearly like the
You had
Jaden
him.
Daniels effect.
Honestly,
Yeah.
you had him though.
I know
Like,
you had
yo,
him, and then
one game, like some
and then
idiots.
then Drew Lock decided to 9/11 that situation, and but like Shadur is good, and I think he would be a good fit in New York too. Just like with like neighbors, obviously being in the Big Apple, as like personable as he is, like he's very good with media. It seems like he's really good at talking, but I just look, go ahead, draft him. He's not going to be Jaden Daniels. Nobody from this class is going to be Jaden Daniels, and that's just hey, no offense, that just is what it is.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
that's what I was telling them earlier because they asked the group chat, like, do you think anyone's going to be a first round prospect of the quarterbacks? Like, anyone's going to be drafted up there? One thing I'd say is like somebody's going to be trying to sell tickets, so of course they're gonna do that, right? But the one
I
thing
mean,
I
if
said,
Kenny Pickett was
Kirk
a first
Cousins.
rounder, a couple of
Kirk
these guys
Cousins is
should
on the
be.
way to New York.
Yeah, yeah.
you dude, the one weird thing I would say, and I know I've said this before, but Brock Purdy's coming up on a payday, right? Kirk is still getting paid a hefty amount from Atlanta. I wouldn't put that out. That
Yeah,
opportunity of Kirk going back and working with Kyle, and it wouldn't have to be for a crazy amount either, just to be able to get on there and
Especially
work
after
with him
this
again.
last year. Yeah,
Yeah. So
I can
now
see that.
I wanted to ask you guys this question. Um, this is from Tim Towner in the Discord. Hall, watching the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Is Chick-fil-A the best fast food restaurant, or do you have another favorite?
that is a great question.
Can we just set parameters real fast? You have to have a drive-through to be considered fast food. Like Five Guys, as amazing as it is, I'm not considering that fast food.
Well, if you
No
But
say
drive-through.
that,
you
then
have Five Guys every Saturday
Kyle, yes, yes, and I'm not
on a
just
good
talking
night.
double meat. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I'm not
double
just talking the
meat.
doubles. I'm talking all of them. That
Honestly,
was
if you're gonna say
disgusting.
drive-through, that's parameters, then I'll go with Cookout. I mean, there's not like I don't even know if there's one in Maryland. It might be in like PJ
What is
somewhere. But
cookout?
There is one in Salisbury. So it's a
no, I mean,
fast.
I mean like this part of Maryland, not like fucking
Oh
like
no, you're right.
outside.
There is none in this side, but I had it the first time I had it was in Salisbury, and they have these lunch deals where it's like $5 for
Yeah.
a meal. And
You're
dude,
hip.
it's really good, especially for your money's worth. But Hall, that's a great pull, dude.
Yeah,
I've
like
never even heard of
Cookout.
this, and I'm
I
the
didn't. I
fattest
knew
one
nothing
here.
about it. I knew nothing
Yeah.
about it until we had to go down to Charlotte to the WT warehouse to like pick up like a bunch of pocket and fascia because it was like we were running way behind on the job, whatever, blah blah blah. So Vinny and whoever else, actually it was Terrence because he's from North Carolina. He was like, "You ever had Cookout?" I was like I've been to Cookouts, yeah. Like I like burgers,
Trust me,
hot
brother.
dogs.
I
I don't
invented
know.
the cookout. Yeah,
He
you're
was like,
asking me.
"Nah."
No, I've
He
only
was
been to
like,
white
"Nah."
cookouts.
Right? He was like,
No,
"Nah, it's
I'm
like a
actually
place."
Dan. Yeah.
Right? And he was like, "Yeah, it's a place." Like I was like, "Oh, that's
Never
what's
been
up though."
invited.
So what they got like grilled burgers and like hot dogs there. He was like, "Nah, man, you're gonna see." And yeah, so like Cookout is the shit.
Yeah, cookout
Dan,
cookout is great. Really good one. I'll say by far it's Checkers. Checkers just slams it out of the
Checkers
park
rules.
every single time. The best fries
Triple
out
bacon,
there.
double mushroom, Swiss milk burger. Oh my god.
I already had it on tongue. Yeah. So if I'm gonna say anything, I'm gonna say Checkers. But Chick-fil-A isn't bad, man. Like
Dude,
if you have to choose between like the normal, the
I was
big
gonna say if I had
boy,
to pick one around like the normal ones around here, I'd probably put Chick-fil-A at the
I
top.
gotta like the big
right?
boys.
But like if
Yeah,
I had my choosing of different ones, like there's no Checkers out here, but Checkers all day.
there's a check. Oh yeah, yeah. I forgot you're in Delaware.
I was gonna say, I
Um,
was like, well, there's one on the way to
yeah,
work. And I was
there's
like, oh yeah, never mind.
one. Dude, I'll agree with Chick-fil-A just because. Look, I've had Raising Cane's. Raising Cane's is fantastic, but they got like two things that you can choose from. So that's. But the sauce, oh my god, Chick-fil-A sauce is the best sauce of all time. It's perfect. It's so good, and Polynesian sauce is fantastic. Like the sauce game is
I like
just
that sweet and spicy sriracha.
yeah, dude, everything, all the sauces, they're just so good. And I mean, and then the waffle fries, you getting some waffle fries? I'll get some waffle
Waffle
goddamn
fries.
fries. Yeah, I'll
Well,
destroy some waffle fries, dude.
it's not surprising to me that you love sauce, especially given with your second job on the weekends.
Kyle,
He called
there's
for
still
extra
19
sauce. You know what I'm
days.
saying? Double
There's still
meat, extra
19 days until
sauce.
you can make these jokes. That's disgusting. I thought you were about to say because I was super high on Sauce Gardner. I was like, yeah, obviously. Obviously, I love Sauce. Not
He
the
was
way
the
Kyle
top
does.
10 pick. Of course,
Kyle's
you're
got.
high on him. Now, next question from Tim Towner. Let's get into this Cowboys game right here. Reed, if you were making the call, would you rest anyone versus Dallas?
So the one person, and we don't even know if he's going to be active, would be Eckler. Just being sketched out about it. I mean, like that last time we played the Cowboys, that concussion at the end was vicious. Like he was done. It was hard. He was just laying there like that. That sketches you out, and plus coming off of it, like, and that sucks. Good, but you want to be at full strength. But no, man, I want us to win. I want us to secure that 6th seed, and I want us to just go out there and I want us to just. Dallas beat us in a heartbreaking game last time. That was so heartbreaking. We should have won that game. I mean, I'm talking about JD clutch. That third to Terry was one of the best thirds I've ever seen. Like that was so clutch and so on the money and in traffic, and it was deep downfield. It was so nice. And then to have that ripped away from us. I want us to go into Dallas, into Jared's world. I don't even know if Jared will be able to see it because one eye's going to be over here, one eye's going to be over there, and I want us to go out there and I want us to stomp a mud hole in them. And I want to be able to say last time was kind of a fluke. It happens in the NFL. This time we destroyed you and you're still the Cowboys. And we're here. We're back. And I want us to just go out there full force, you know? Keep the motor running.
Dude, you're
Hidden on
ridiculous.
a highway, looking
Um,
for adventure.
so if you saw the practice report,
Born to be wild. Sorry.
if you saw the practice report from today, it was plentiful to say the least. There were a lot
Yeah.
of people who did not practice today just due to rest. And I saw Adam Schefter had just tweeted that there were 10 players on their injury report for their practice, which kind of gives them a hint at what Philly's going to do this weekend, where they're going to be sitting a lot of players. So I do wonder if it's going to be the same situation for Washington. If Quinn does decide that he's going to give a lot of guys rest, I'm not sure about Jaden and company, but if you aren't going to be resting anybody, I think the MO has to be running the football and getting back to it. Dallas right now, they're 29th in the league on defense in rushing yards. And so if you really want to be able to get the running game back to going and kind of get that confidence built up with the running game, not using Jaden Daniels, this is the game to do it. I think Badass needs to take a sit because obviously him being injured, you don't want to stress that for him.
Yeah.
Lucas is banged up. Wiley is working himself back. And I think it'd be smart for Wiley to play in this game just to give him a freshen up, like just to get ready for the playoffs since he's had a couple weeks off. And so you don't want him to go in first start being in the playoffs, right? Coming back from injury. But if anyone's dealing with anything, you want to have them just get an extra week of rest, right? But for the most part, I don't think you're going to be sitting everybody for is basically my point. I don't think Marshawn should suit up at all. I
Yeah.
feel bad for Mike Davis because I watched the All 22 today. He banged his shoulder up in that first drive. He stayed
Oh, a
out
football
there,
player banged his shoulder. Oh,
but like you could tell that it affected him throughout that game. I saw one
yeah,
person like
that
comment
sucks.
like what an unathletic play it was on that one play. Like you know what I'm talking about. That's why you're laughing
Yeah, I
right
know.
now.
Yeah.
And so, but my whole thing was
I
like,
saw it.
obviously he was affected by something. I just feel bad for
Yeah.
Mike Davis, and because I thought the same thing. I was like, what is that? But yeah,
That's something that would happen to me.
yeah,
Like,
that's me chasing my son around.
yeah, yeah, that happens. You want to talk about real injuries, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, outside of like Eckler, just because he's working his way back, get him like a little bit more fresh, a little bit one more rest week with the concussion stuff, fresh for the playoffs. Lattimore, obviously, keep him fresh for the
Yeah, for
playoffs,
sure, Lattimore.
and Biotis because I think they said he left in like a boot or something like that Sunday night. I would say rest him, get him freshened up for the playoffs because obviously he's the anchor of the line, and the line is 10 times better when he's in there, and able to be the Biotis that we all have seen throughout the year. So outside of those three guys, and then obviously Lucas, I think Lucas is a little bit banged up. Outside of those four guys, I would say that unless Lucas or whoever progresses throughout the week, actually it's already like Wednesday, so my week's all screwed up. But yeah, basically outside of those four guys, I would just say everyone play, spank them around in the first half, and then come out in the second half. And if guys like need a little bit more rest, like whatever it may be, like whatever the training staff thinks is best. Then you start sitting guys. But like Reed said, I want to lock up that 6 seed. The only way to do that is to beat the Dallas Cowboys. And if guys want to get rest, get freshened up, only way to do that is come out and smack them in the first half. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And I want to see Tampa Bay again because I think LA's resting their guys, Philly's resting their guys. Tampa's probably going to be whoever they're playing, like Carolina or something like that. So, yeah, I want to play against Tampa again. I feel like we match up good against them. We can't really stop anybody. They can't stop nobody. I feel like that'd be a really good playoff game. So, yeah, I want to see Tampa again.
Also, yeah, we want our revenge against them. We're not scared of Philly. I'll play Philly if we gotta play Philly. I don't care, but I think we'll dog Philly, and it would be fun. Of course, if we lost, it would suck. All shit talking. But and then another one, dude, facing the Rams, going up, getting to talk smack with Coach Corral all week would be so
Oh
fun.
yeah, we
Yeah.
got to get him on if we do go to LA.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's
For
the
sure.
boy. Love Coach Corral.
I was asked this on Andy's pod about like who you want to see in the playoffs, and I said, what was the Dan Quinn quote? Anybody, any place, anytime, right? But I would say Tampa because that week 1 matchup, this team is vastly different than that team in week 1, and
Yeah.
I would love to be able to see the compare and contrast from that
Especially-
week 1 matchup with them. And obviously they don't have Chris Godwin, but Baker Mayfield is still wheeling and dealing.
He's on fire right now.
Right now.
Yeah,
And
dude, Baker's playing awesome.
McMillan's not a slouch either. McMillan's
No.
come on towards the end of the season also. So.
Bucky Irvin, I got him in Dynasty League. I was pumped about that because he's tearing it up.
Absolutely. Bucky's doing well. And like Cade Otton was destroying for a little while. Obviously, he's been nicked up, but he probably will be there for the playoffs. So their offense is no slouch. They're very good against the run. It's the pass that they have been getting chewed up on. And so it could be a light show, you could say, so to speak. So that's one matchup I would really look forward to. But
Marshawn versus Mike Evans.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then you talked about, but when you bringing up Coach Curl, like, oh, okay.
That would be so fun.
That would be
so
fun.
fun.
That would be fun.
But the Rams are interesting too, dude. The Rams pass rush has been insane lately. It's been so good. That would be interesting to watch Jaden just completely embarrass them and fly by them and
If you say so. Now the next question that we have is from Deluxe Reed. What are your thoughts on the B-Rob/C-Rod debate?
First of all, shout out to C-Rod. He's been playing. He played awesome, and I hope that he gets more carries. But I hope that it doesn't really affect B-Rob's confidence because when B-Rob's rolling, dude, he's so good. He really is. I know those 2 fumbles against Philly, like that's very uncharacteristic of him. And he's such a hard runner. He's so fast. He's athletic. He can catch the ball. He can pass block, of course, as we know very well. And he's such a difference maker. But I think just having those guys, and I mean, our running back room is playing so good. McNichols obviously is playing fantastic. He's come up huge a few times this year. But you got to kind of feel for B-Rob a little bit, just like with all that he's been through it, and he's struggling a little bit right now, and that's all right. I mean, he'll get it right. Hopefully against Dallas is a perfect time for him to get it right. Just bust off some big runs, use him and C-Rod, and just plow it down their throats like Kyle does to all those guys every night, not just on the weekends. And just get him going, get the ball, head out on the highway, looking for adventure and whatever comes my way.
Come on, man.
To be one.
The debate is fun because look, you got to give C-Rod his flowers, but they're 2 very different runners.
Bowling ball.
Where C-Rod is very much so dedicated to, like, kind of like Reed on the weekends. He's very dedicated to a hole. He doesn't waste time for it. He just puts his foot in there and he gets through it. Where B-Rob, especially as of late, B-Rob has shown a kind of hesitancy if it is kind of clouded. And but with B-Rob, he needs that little extra step. He's like a train. It takes a little bit to get going, right? But when he does get going, like Reed said, he's like a bowling ball. So it's been difficult for B-Rob because the offensive line has been moving bodies a lot. That's where C-Rod really benefits from because C-Rod, when he sees a hole, he gets through it, right? And so they're 2 very different runners in that sense. So I feel bad for B-Rob because B-Rob is not being used to his strengths, so to speak, and just being able to go and have that extra yardage to be able to get there. But I'll say it's just everyone just wants to pile on somebody and talk bad about him. B-Rob has 8 touchdowns this season. His career high for him. Look, you could say those standards are low for whatever have you, but the fact is he has been crucial when we needed him. And especially in that Tennessee game, he really set the
Dude,
tone for the
that
rest of it.
that touchdown run where he was just completely untouched the first
Yep.
time he touched the ball.
And that
was
goes
like,
into my point about being the
Yeah.
train, right? And like, if he's not touched, he is really, really important, and he could be a big effect on a defense. But if he's getting stopped in the backfield, he's not good at being able to shift and move around it, so to speak. And so the debate is kind of stupid because everyone has their own thing, and they all contribute and do a great job. Just B-Rob took a step back in pass protection this year. You saw down that Ellis blitz where he just popped B-Rob straight backwards into Jaden, leading to a sack. And so you just need B-Rob to use that big-ass body of his and be able to stand people up like Reed on the weekend. So I know he could get back to it, right? What about you all?
Yeah, like you said, they do two different kind of things. They're both like kind of the bruiser backs, but C-Rod's a little bit more light on his feet, a little bit more shifty. Has a little bit more like contact balance as far as like they both break tackles and whatnot. Like, but I feel like C-Rod is more of like he'll bounce off of you and keep it moving. Where
right.
B-Rod is like I'm just gonna like you can hold on to me. I'm just gonna drag you another like couple
Right.
yards.
Or I'm gonna shift out of it.
Yeah, but I think Austin Eckler coming back as well and putting him in the backfield with B-Rob and Jaden Daniels back there. I think that's going to open up a lot more holes. Cliff's going to be able to use a lot more misdirection. You can use B-Rob in the passing game as well when Eckler's in there. So just for the defense having a guess of like who's going to be running the ball, Jaden, B-Rob, Eckler, they're going to come with like some jet motion with like OZ or whoever it may be. Is going to open up, make life a little bit easier for not only like the offense, but I think offensive linemen as well, because it's going to make the defensive linemen kind of guess, hesitate. That gives a little bit more time for the offensive lineman to chip, get to the next level, hit their blocks, hit their angles. So hopefully Eckler coming back, whether it's this week at the playoffs, will help Cliff get him a little bit more back in his bag in the running game, and it'll help B-Rob out as far as like holes opening up with the offensive lineman.
Yeah, you're absolutely
Dude,
right.
how
Like
sick
Eckler is a lot like me as a runner, whereas like Reed is a lot like B-Rob, where B-Rob like is not afraid of banging dudes, right? He accepts that contact.
He didn't care.
Whereas
he didn't care
I'm
He'll
much
plow
more
right through him and on to the next one. He seeks contact.
I'm much more so evading.
Looking for guys.
I'm much more so about evading, right? And that's where Eckler is kind of like where he's able to more shifty in that sort of sense. And so
unless they're underage dudes, and Kyle's like,
that was good. But Eckler really does benefit with this offensive line where he can be more shifty, be able to get around and away from guys. And so obviously that he'd be huge in adding into the equation. But Reed, this next question from Deluxe, what is the impact of Wiley's return to the lineup when it happens? Do we see a rotation at left tackle again?
First of all, you hate me. You hate me.
You've been gone for a while. I've been building these up.
You say, how can I make a fool out of him? How can I embarrass him in front of everybody? You fucking hate me. You're doing this to me on purpose. I know you are. What was the question? Ask me the question again.
Hall, what is the impact? Hall, what is the impact of Wiley's return to the lineup when it happens? Do we see a rotation at left tackle again?
I don't think they've been doing the rotation like with Lucas and Coleman. I think it's been Coleman's job since like halfway or whenever Lucas got hurt, whatever it's been. But maybe if Lucas is, I know he's been struggling here and there the past couple of weeks in like pass pro. But if he's like starts to struggle again or whatnot, maybe you kind of go back to that split rotation. But as far as Wiley, maybe they get like more screen games going, stuff like that, because he's like out in space. He's really good out in space. And I know he's pretty good in the run game as well. So hopefully that'll also help B-Rob as well with Wiley being back, which is crazy to say because everyone killed him last year. But
Trent Scott's PFF numbers were not very good from this past weekend. Obviously, Lucas probably should not suit up in this game. Wiley, his impact will be great just because like the veteran presence, especially in the playoffs, of he's been there, done that with the Kansas City Chiefs, right? So it's not like he's walking in like a deer in the headlights, so to speak. So that's somebody that's been there and kind of knows how to take control of things. But do we see a rotation left tackle again? I don't think so, Deluxe. And the reason for that is when Lucas was healthy, I think it was against the Eagles or was it against who was it against? Where Coleman started the entire game. Lucas actually did not play. right? And I actually questioned, like, was Lucas even playing in this game? The reason I would imagine is because
Oh, you mean
Wiley.
like the first Eagles game?
Yeah, I believe so. I think that
Or
was
maybe
it.
it was the Pittsburgh game. I
No,
think it might have been the Pitts.
it was
I think it
later
was
than
the
that.
Pittsburgh game. I think it was the Pittsburgh game when he got like the full like left tackle reps because I feel like Highsmith was like giving him trouble the entire game, and we were kind of like, oh, like, but then everyone was like, oh, he's a rookie, it's Highsmith, whatever. But since then, he kind of has been choppy, like got it together here and there. But
You're probably right. But basically, my point being is that with Wiley already being injured and possibly playing, like, you want to have Lucas healthy in case something else happens with Wiley, right? And I would imagine it's probably the same reason why they did not play Lucas in that matchup that I'm referring to. So, as much as I love Lucas and I want that rotation to happen, you do need to keep your bodies fresh, right? In case that's something, and the guy's already kind of nicked up with something, you don't want to stress out even more by adding the rotation where possibly both guys are injured and now you're having to really go deep in order to fill things. Do you have anything else to add, Reed?
Talking to you. No, no, I got it does. I mean, hell yeah, brother.
My man. Reed, this question from Andy Lockhart. Will Reed be joining you today? Look at that.
No. What if the whole time this is fake? This is AI.
this is already like recorded.
Yeah, this is actually recorded. Yeah, this is 2 days ago, dude. We got the leak of the sketch, how the NFL season plays out. We got the script.
My man. Now, his next question was, who do you think will be starting at right tackle this week, Reed?
Probably an offensive lineman.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
I would
I would
probably.
imagine Wiley. I would think that you would want if Wiley's healthy, if Wiley can play. I would imagine he's been your starting right tackle predominantly. I would imagine that you would like to get him out there and get his feet under him a little bit. And what a better way than to go up against like Micah Parsons and these guys, you know? Just get him out there, get him ready,
Well, and
whatever it is.
especially if Jaden is playing, you probably
Yeah,
want Wiley out there going up against Minka, and so that's probably a really good reason for you. Even if so, I already talked about it before, just needing those game reps before you get into the postseason, just to be able to get his body up and running. Obviously, I would easily say Wiley, but I would not be surprised to see Trent Scott out there.
Yeah, I'll say Wiley just because I don't want to see Trent Scott out there. So I'm just gonna hope that Wiley plays
I
and
mean.
makes it through the game healthy.
Now, the next question, Halls from Deluxe. Early in the season, DQ said there wasn't a number 2 wide receiver, and they had all their roles. Has that held true?
Yes, it's been number 2 receiver by committee. Um, in the beginning of the season was Eckler out the backfield. He was definitely a huge help with that. We've seen week in and week out. It's been like Diami's week or OZ's week, or it was Noah Brown for a little bit, and some weeks it's Zach Ertz.
you're
So
missing Crowder last or two
yeah,
weeks ago.
Crowder's come up and stepped up. So yeah, it's been Terry and then the rest of the band basically in the passing game. Which again, going into the season, I was definitely one of those people that was like, they need to get another weapon outside of Terry. Blah 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 blah. I was happily proven wrong, and I can gladly admit that Cliff Kingsbury and these guys have schemed it up. The receivers have stepped up. They've done their job, and Jaden Daniels is a force multiplier. He's lifting the ties all around him, so he's playing at a high level, and he's making guys get to his level of play as well. So, yeah, I mean, there's definitely not a number 2, and like I said earlier about the Eagles fans, where this is the worst the roster is going to be for the next 4 years, basically, before we got to pay Jaden Daniels. So, yeah, I feel like whether it's the draft or free agency, they're going to put more weapons around him at some point. So, yeah, right now it's getting the job done, but like we always say, just imagine with like legit, like actual like players that defenses got to actually like scheme up and like scheme about and like, hey, we got to take this guy out the game type thing. So yeah, kudos to the receiving corps so far.
I would say as of late, that's held true. I would argue that it didn't hold true once they added Noah Brown. Noah Brown was, you could say, he was getting the most targets behind
Yeah, that's
Terry,
true.
even out targeting Terry at some times. So I would say that he was arguably the number 2 wide receiver at that point. Obviously, him having the bigger frame, that's what this offense kind of needed. And also, it's their roles. Obviously, Luke McCaffrey has done really good at kick return, but he hasn't gotten much run at all, man. And it sucks because you'd like to see the young guy produce a little bit more and be able to get more opportunities. We all have talked about how many times that he's gotten open, and everyone complaining about we need more wide receivers that separate more. Well, Luke's been doing that all season. He just hasn't been getting the ball. So is that truly what we need? So in my personal opinion, it's half true, I would say, because I think that Noah was the number 2. But as of right now, with Noah out for the season, I would say yes. They all have their roles. OZ has filled in perfectly in being able to sit down in those holes and zones and being able to extend after the play. The first catch to OZ that he got a first down on against Atlanta, if you guys go back and watch it, look at Jaden Daniels' accuracy on that play. He throws it to the inside of OZ, facing midfield, where OZ literally all he has to do is turn around for the first down with 2 incoming defenders on him. And it was a beautifully done play, because typically it's like an 8-yard gain. You're still having to pick up the first down, where because where Jaden threw that ball to OZ, had him turn his body, and literally he's already diving for the first down because of where he put the football. It really speaks to Jaden Daniels' accuracy. What do you got, Reed?
Oh yeah. I mean, obviously, you want to see, like everybody's been saying, like before every game, it's like Luke McCaffrey breakout game. So many people have been saying, hey, I want Luke to have one. Like it would be fitting if he did it the final game of the season.
Shocker.
I hope that he does. I hope that he does. Yeah, yeah. Come
Whitey.
on, man. Yeah, you know why. Yeah, no. But I hope that I hope that he does. Just because you want to feel good for Luke. Luke seems like a good dude. He's a hard football player. But yeah, I mean, obviously you would like to have a number 2, but this number 2 by committee, like we talked about, everybody just seems to people seem to step up. I mean, now obviously if you had like a T Higgins on the other side of Terry, that it's like, what the fuck do you do? Like you can't defend that. You know what I'm saying? So down the road, yeah, but you gotta like the way that they stepped up, and sometimes having those elite targets kind of hinders, especially a young quarterback, because they're just so focused on getting them the ball. And you've seen with JD, that's not the point. If Terry's not there, Terry gets him, or he doesn't throw it to Terry's money. He didn't against Atlanta, and it's a good thing with him, but that's why it's kind of good that he has to spread the ball around in these situations, I think, for his growing and development.
That's
As
crazy.
Kyle Ronick has never said once, ever.
It's
He's going to
crazy
gaslight
that
you and
you're
tell you that
saying
he said
that.
that. He did not say that, ever.
Oh my goodness. It's all right. I'm not gonna bring it up. I'm not gonna bring it up. All
He
right.
wouldn't need to spread it around because he just throw it to Terry or Ayuk the whole time if there was like another guy like that, since that's probably what we're all alluding to.
I want to go on record. I never wanted Ayuk or Drake May. Ever. I never wanted either one of
And
them.
you wanted Dan Quinn from the
Yeah,
get-go.
exactly.
I wanted Dan Quinn from the get-go. I said, Ben Johnson, fuck Ben Johnson. I said, I want Dan Quinn.
Real
I'll
quick,
jump.
before we get into predictions, just really quick, Hall, because of Eckler's injury concerns with the concussions, when he does return, do you think that he should go back to kick return, or should it stay with Luke?
I would say no. I feel like I would ask Eckler, like, hey, how do you feel about it? Like, or do you feel comfortable with it? Because he seems like one of those guys, even if like he seems like one of them guys would be like, hey, coach, like I want to do like a not limited role, but like this is my best usage as of right now, just based on like how I feel. But I would say that Luke has proven that he's been able to step up, and I know Eckler has been crucial for the first half of the season as far as like kick return, field position, and whatnot, setting the offense up in good spaces. But I feel like Luke has also proved that he can do just as well, if not better, than Eckler, who's kind of in that back nine of his career. You got fresher legs than a young guy like Luke McCaffrey. And again, if you look at that Eagles game, that I think his worst kick return, like as far as like field position, was like our like 35, 40-yard line or something like that. So I feel like Luke is doing a great job, and maybe that'll build a little bit more confidence inside of Luke as far as like, okay, when I do get on the field and get the ball in my hands, I can make a move and score as opposed to like, let me just like make sure I catch the ball first and do my job is to catch the ball, get down the field or get down, whatever, stay in bounds, whatever it may be. So yeah, everyone wants to get Luke involved in the offense. If you can't get involved in the offense, get him involved in the special teams.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just in the percentage chance of less snaps, less liability for Austin Eckler, of course. Obviously, he deserves the ability to come back and start if he wanted to, but I think Luke has shown enough to the point where you could feel comfortable with him back there, and you don't want to put that extra stress on Eckler, whereas you just want to make sure that he's 100% going on the playoffs, being productive from a running back role. Obviously, that can change if Luke coughs up the football or anything like that, but I don't see that envisioning that happening. What about you, Reed?
Same.
All right, then. What is your prediction for this game on Sunday. Who's going to be the unsung hero in the score prediction?
I'm gonna go. Well, I'll go. Washington is gonna win this game, and look, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it's gonna end up being 34 to 24, and it shouldn't be that close because we're better. But it's a division game. It's the Cowboys. They shouldn't have beat us last time. They still beat us. It is what it is. I mean, talent wise, we should blow them out of the water. And that's saying that they're sitting CD. They don't have Dak. They don't have a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So I think it'll just be a classic NFC East game. But I think you gotta go with the big dogs. And unsung hero. You know what? I'm going to have a big bounce back game from Frankie Louvu on defense. His name was not called that much against Atlanta, and that doesn't happen too often with a guy who's playing like that as well as he has all season. And but on offense, I'm going to go I'm going to go two Ben Sinnott touchdowns
Okay. I'm with it.
just
I'm with it.
because. And look, he might only have two catches for 3 yards. I'm going to say both of them going for touchdowns though.
Well, that first one to OZ, Jaden could have thrown it to Ben Sinnott. He was
Yeah.
open in the flat
Yeah.
there at the pylon, and obviously that play is in there, and they want to use that, of course. But Jaden, it's funny when I watched the All 22 today, they rushed 9 people. Like they didn't rush 9 people, but there were 9 people coming onto the line of scrimmage. At least 2 or 3 of them were converging on Jaden running. And so literally they only had 2 people in coverage and only one guy on that side of the field. So Jaden had pick your poison type of thing there, which was crazy. I do think Washington is going to win. I love the Ben Sinnott pick there, of course. I'll say the unsung hero is going to be somebody like Jeremy McNichols or Chris
Man,
Rodriguez.
y'all took both of my picks.
Oh, my bad, man. But I think that those 2 guys are going to be proven to be pivotal in getting the run game going again. If that's something I really feel strongly about that has to get done going into the playoffs. Obviously, Jaden's legs are a difference, but the thing is, in the playoffs, Hall, we've talked about this before. You have to be able to run the ball consistently. That's what playoff teams do, and we haven't been able to do that as of yet against good run fronts. And so this weekend is a really good opportunity to get the ball rolling in that regard. So I would say those 2. I think Washington wins with Jaden Daniels or with Marcus Mariota starting. I think they win 30, I'll say, to 24. Oh, crazy stat, dude. Rico Daddle has 1,000 yards rushing, only 1 touchdown on the season rushing.
Yeah.
That is insane.
He was the Trey McBride of running back, or he's the Trey McBride of running backs. Like Trey McBride has like 98, 100 catches or something.
Finally
But
got
only
his
one
first
touchdown. Just got it this past week. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's the only tight end in history that had like 3 or plus games with 12 plus catches this season. So
Yeah.
crazy stat. But I'm with y'all as well. I think this Washington win. I think it's going to be 30. I'll go 33 to 17. I think it'll be pretty much the game will be over in the first half. I think the 17 points that they score will be like kind of garbage points for them. The game will already be over. Like I said before, I think they lock up the 6th seed by spanking the Cowboys in the first half, and then they sit some guys. They bring in Mariota. They bring in some backup linemen like Trent Scott. They get some rest for Zach Ertz. So with that being said, that's why I was going to say my unsung hero would be like a guy like McNichols or Sinnott, because hopefully they'll be getting a lot of snaps because the game will be over in the first half. So I'll stick with the theme and say a guy like Chris Rodriguez, who I wouldn't even call him an unsung hero at this point because he's had a couple big games this year, but I feel like this is the Rodriguez game where he kind of proves that, hey, I belong on this roster. I'm just not a practice squad guy that can step in and maybe play the Brian Robinson role. I can be a guy that can get 3-4 touches a game and help this team out.
Yeah, I really hope that Joe Witt, because CeeDee Lamb is not in there for this game, I really hope that he is able to bring more pressure onto Cooper Rush. Last time that we played them, he was just sitting in the pocket all day, just being able to diagnose things. So hopefully he's able to send more people because CeeDee Lamb is not out there.
Benjamin St-Juste, if you get toasted by Jalen Tolbert or whoever these random wide receivers they got on the Cowboys, not named CeeDee Lamb, we got some problems.
Tolbert has 7 touchdowns on the year. Actually has 1 more than CeeDee Lamb, crazy enough. So obviously they look at him in the red zone, and you talk about Dowdle only having 1 rushing touchdown. It goes to the receivers, of course. Yeah. And you can't forget about Brandon Cooks, that shifty little guy. He's like the Austin Eckler of wide receivers, right?
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
I like Jalen Tolbert coming out.
Reed is ready to go, guys. That's that look.
Speaking of coming out, Kyle, don't you have an announcement?
All right, everybody. We will see you guys again, I guess, on Sunday evening, depending on how things go and shape out. I'm not sure about Reed, but we will see you
If
guys
we
then.
lose, I'm not.
I know. All right,
I'm
everybody.
skipping work.
We'll see you again on Sunday. Enjoy the week. Enjoy everything. Be safe, please. Prayers to everyone down in
Week's
New
over almost.
Prayers to everyone down in New Orleans. Absolutely terrible what happened, but you know, it's the way the world is right now. All right, everybody. We'll see you then. Washington football. Woo! What's up, everyone? This is Kyle from the Burgundy Zone. We are releasing our own merch to support the show. If you want to rock the Burgundy Zone logo or you want to see Reed's face on your shirt, we got it. We're starting with t-shirts, hoodies, and zip-up. So if you're a fan of the show, make sure you snag one before they are gone. Check out the link in our bio on Instagram, or you can find the link in the description of the video. Thanks again for all your support. Until next time.